Okay, I want you to imagine a year where the world just breaks. A year of darkness in the middle of the day, of ice in July, a year of famine, riots, and, well, even monsters. That year was 1816. You might know it as the year without a summer.
What if summer just never showed up one year? Well, back in 1816, it didn't.
So, what's with this number? It's a clue to where our story really begins.
This is how much height Indonesia's Mount Tambora lost when it blew its top in 1815.
That eruption shot a cloud of ash the size of Australia into the atmosphere. That cloud acted like a giant sunblock for the planet, and global temperatures plunged.
And the result? People started calling it the year without a summer.
In North America, the weather went crazy. Snow in June, frozen rivers in July.
And this wasn't just some local thing. Europe was getting hit just as hard. With no sun and constant cold, you can probably guess what happened next. Worldwide crop failure.
The economic fallout was insane. The price of oats, for example, jumped nearly 8-fold.
Things got desperate fast. People on both sides of the Atlantic were literally starving.
So what do? In America, this famine triggered a huge migration westward.
Over in Europe, though, that same hunger exploded into riots and total chaos.
It was way more than just hunger. Society itself was breaking down. Riots, disease, the works.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? One volcano can completely change the course of history.
But the gloom wasn't just about politics. It also inspired some timeless literary masterpieces.
So ever wonder how a teenager wrote one of the most iconic monster stories ever?
Our story kicks off in 1816, a year that was pretty unusual, to say the least.
See, a huge volcanic eruption basically canceled summer that year across the globe.
And out of all that gloom, the incredible story of Frankenstein was born.
Right, so how did an 18-year-old with no writing experience pull this off? Let's get into it.
Okay, so picture this. A group of young, rebellious writers are on vacation in Geneva. In the group, you've got Mary Godwin, just 18, and the famous poet Percy Shelley. They were all hanging out at a place rented by the one and only Lord Byron. But that year without a summer we mentioned, it was about to crash their party. Yup, the Mount Tambora eruption sent ash clouds everywhere, completely messing with the weather.
Stuck inside with non-stop rain, Lord Byron had an idea. Let's have a ghost story contest.
The guys, Byron and Shelley, got right to it. But Mary, she had nothing. Until one night, she had this vision, a terrifying nightmare of a corpse brought back to life.
And that was it. That was the spark. She finally knew what her story was about.
And it wasn't just some spooky tale. This was about creation, humanity, the works. Just like that, Frankenstein's monster came to life, questioning science and our responsibilities. It came out in 1818 with no author's name and became an instant controversial hit. So this teenager's rainy day ghost story, it ended up becoming a timeless, immortal legend.
Let's start in South America, where revolutions were literally forging new nations out of all this instability.
And for Argentina, the whole thing came down to a single historic question. The answer was a unanimous yes, a new nation was born. But what about old Europe?
Yeah, over in Europe, the major powers were trying to do the exact opposite, restore the old order.
Their whole goal was stability. Redraw the map of Europe and contain those revolutionary ideas.
So you've got this wild contrast, revolution in one hemisphere and total restoration in the other.
So while Byron was writing about the apocalypse, Jane Austen's Emma offered a different world.
And this was her total profit from the first run. Yeah, Emma didn't exactly fly off the shelves. Meanwhile, in the United States, the focus was completely different. It was all about building the nation.
So you have revolution, restoration, and creation, all happening at once under the same dark skies.
And the wild part? A single climate event is the thread that connects every single one of them.
Think about it. From a volcano's ash, you get revolution, literary monsters, and a whole new world order.